Hello guys, you're welcome to KeyStroke.IT, and this is a beginner Python tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about data types. Now, every programming language, not just Python, they all have data types. And data types are just basically types of data that we can manipulate and work with in our programs. Now, Python has a few of them. We have int, we have integers, we have, okay, let me give examples. 2, 3, 5. We have our floats or decimals, or any kind of number that has a decimal precision. Let's say 0.2134. That's also a float. And then we have strings. We have strings, and strings are just characters. They are contained in single or double quotes. You can have, let's say, Benjamin, and you can have okay, let me use single quotes this time. You can have like random characters like these, and you can have, if you see a number in a pair of quotation marks like this, it is also a string. An integer will be just a number like this, no quotation marks, just the way floats are. Then we have another one called boolean, and boolean is true or false. So those are the only two possible boolean values that we can have, true or false. So these are like the basic data types that we have in Python. Now, before we move further, I want to introduce you to a built-in function we have. Don't worry about what functions are for now, but we're going to be using this too. The print function is what we use to display something to our terminal or to our console. So we can say print hello world. We save that and hit F5 to run, and we get hello world over here. So that is the use of the print function. So we're going to be using that a lot in this class today. So the next thing I want to tell you about is variables. We're going to use them in the examples with the data types we just spoke about. So let me just say that variables are containers, or let's just call them containers, or we can say a piece of memory or memory block that will hold a piece of data for us, so that we can recall it and have access to it and be able to manipulate it later in our program. Now, there are some common naming conventions for variables, like you cannot start your variable name with a number, and if you have two words, you should probably join them together by an underscore. Let's say var1, as opposed to using a white space. You can also have underscores at the beginning of your variable name, let's say, and you can name your variables whatever you want. I'm just calling them var for our example. It will be good for you to name your variables in a way that they describe the kind of data that they hold. Let's say you're writing a school program, you can be like age equals 10. You don't want anybody that has to read or maintain your code to be wondering what is the content of this variable. If I just say var equals 10, and maybe another developer or programmer somewhere has to maintain my code or use it in some way or the other, he would want like, okay, what is this 10? So it's always good to like name your variables like with names that describe what they contain. So a variable will behave like the value that it contains. What I mean by that is, let's just say name a variable a, and we have 10 here, and you can come down here and say print a instead of 10. So we'll save that and F5 to run, and it will give us that 10. So variables behave like the data that is stored in them. Variables can contain any of the data types that we just spoke about. Now let me just say Tony Stark, amen, and we can print the variable. It will give us the string that is contained within. Even if this were, let's say, a boolean, let's try that. Save and run, and it gives us the boolean value of the variable. So that is how variables work. Okay, you can also check the type. There's another built-in function that allows us to check the type of data that is held within the variable. So you need to remember, this is like a nested function. Let me say nesting is when you have something within another thing, that kind of thing. So we have this first parentheses here for the print function, and then we have these other two inside here for the type function. So we should be careful with that so as not to generate any errors. So we can hit F5 and it shows us that the class of the data held in our variable is bool, which stands for boolean. So we can change that to, let's say, 10, save and run. And now it shows us our 10 is of class int, which stands for integer. So you can use the type function to check the type of data that is in your program. Okay, so we can manipulate variables. I said variables behave like the data they contain. So let's just say B here and assign another 10 to it. And then we can come down here and say, sorry, my mouse is messing up. So come down here and say print, let's say A plus B, simple, and run that, and we have 20. So we can manipulate the data within the variables by using the variable names themselves. And there's something else I want to show you here. We can assign multiple pieces of data to multiple variables in a single line. You can have A, B, C, and you can have it equal to 1, 2, and 3. So let's say, okay, let's do that. Print A plus B, F5 run. And you can see we have 3 because 1 plus 2 is 3. You can say print the value of C, and we have 3. So you can assign multiple values to multiple variables, but they will be assigned in order of their arrangement like this, so you have to be mindful of that. Okay, okay, this is just a random thing that hit my mind, but in Python we have something called comments, and they are denoted with the hash or the pound sign. So anything written after this will be ignored by the program. Let's just say gibberish. So Control S and run the program, and there's nothing there. This is supposed to give us like a serious error, like without. Let me just take the pound sign along the way, save it and run, and then we have our error there. So the program will ignore anything like written after the pound sign. And this is useful for commenting your code, where you can tell a future developer basically like what this piece of code does or what that piece of code does. And you yourself, by the time you start writing large programs that maybe 1,000 lines, 2,000 lines, you're going to need comments like to know your way around your own code. Alright, next I want to talk about arithmetic operators. Arithmetic operators are just basically mathematical signs that we use to run operations in programming generally. So in Python we have the addition, we have the subtraction, and we have multiplication. Did I spell that correctly? I think so. I think I did. Then we have exponentiation. And exponentiation is like powers. It's not multiplication, it's like raising to the power of, I think, yeah. That's what exponentiation is. So it's not just traditional multiplication. So we have division. We have division, and this returns an integer. This returns an integer. Then we have float division. float division will return a float for us. Then we have modulo or modulus. I prefer to say modulus. Some people say modulo. It just sounds more modulus-ish. Okay, we have modulus, and what modulus does, it will give us a remainder. It will just take away the first part of your answer and give you only the remainder. So these are, okay, let me just show you equality. My bad. If you notice, when we're assigning variables, we used a single equal sign like in mathematics, but in Python the mathematical equality sign is the double equality symbol like this. This is what will give you your answer if you are checking for equality or something like that. So these are the basic arithmetic operators that we have in Python. These are the operators, and the things that they work on are called the operands. The pieces of data we use them on are called operands. So let me just quickly give you some examples. You have, let's use variables. What are we going to assign here? Let's say just 2, basic and quick and simple. Let's just say 2, and let's say okay, let me use something larger here to show you exponential. Okay, a exponent b, save and run, and we have 256. So that's how exponential works. Let me just take one of them away, save and run, and now you see we have just 16. Okay, and then we have addition, save, run, that's addition 10, and subtraction, since it's a smaller number, it should give us, yeah, a negative number, -6. Okay, we have that. Now division, let me just change this over. Alright, let's say b divided by a, save, run, and we have 4. Now this one should give us a float. It should return a float, 4.0. That's the thing with this one. Even when you have a whole number, it will return the 0. When there are no remainders, it will still return a 4.0 for you. So that is that division. Single slashes, single forward slashes return a float. Then let me use 3 here. Let me use odds and evens, so that will have a remainder. And let's use modulo for this, save and run, and modulus gives us only the remainder. Let's just use regular division here. Let's say save, run, and now we have 2. Now let's use the float division to see everything, save, run, and now have this. Okay, wait, let me, what happened here? Oh, okay. Alright, so that is basically arithmetic operators. Okay, there's something more I want to tell you. There's something we call operator precedence or order of operations. Just like in mathematics, you have BODMAS or BEDMAS. You have brackets, orders, divisions, multiplication, exactly. So here we have parentheses, and parentheses are basically your brackets, but we just call them parentheses in computer science. Then we have exponents, we have multiplication, one of my worst words to spell, simple, but I just spell on the keyboard, I mean. Okay, we have division, we have addition, and we have subtraction. So this is like basically your order of operations in Python. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe, share with your friends, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.